Tampa Bay's Newstalk AM-820 WWBA. Mark Larsen, Morning Magazine. Thanks for being here. Boy, Obama just has so many things on his plate. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. In fact, Prime Minister Brown came over from the UK the other day. Felt like he was snubbed because President Obama is burning the candle at both ends. He's so busy. Says there was no red carpet, no pomp and circumstance, and felt as though he was snubbed. And if it wasn't enough that we have the stimulus plan and the stopgap measure for the budget, the omnibus spending bill, and the banking bailout, and the automotive this and that, and now the stem cell research, the socialization of medical for the lovely citizens of our country. Now, Obama even has an education plan. Jeez. An education plan. Just what we need. More indoctrination programs in our public schools. And, this coming at a time when we just got a great report card on elementary schools right here in the Tampa Bay area. How we took failing elementary schools, turned them around 180 degrees. Some of the data that came out over the past few days and was even published in the Pravda West. Even they had to publish the stuff. A direct result of Jeb Bush's education blueprint for this state, which was the model for No Child Left Behind. And carried out properly, we've seen what kind of fruit it can bear. It is just very curious to me how, his brother tried it with No Child Left Behind and I guess didn't take it to a proper end. But it looks like we really made it happen, at least in elementary schools here, with reading and math. And I just wish somebody from that administration up in Washington would come down here and see what we did and maybe put that plan to work. It has to do with testing, accountability, holding teachers accountable, schools accountable. Give the taxpayer their money's worth. Isn't that what it's all about? Looks like the Weather Channel forecast is going to be beautiful for the rest of the week. We're looking at virtually no rain in the forecast, which is great if you're a tourist, but not really good if you're someone engaged in agriculture here in the mid part of the state. In fact, Hillsborough, Pinellas counties actually faring about the best in this drought, but the rest of Central Florida looking pretty bad. High today should be about 80, no rain. The overnight low about 63, on average about 60 degrees around the Bay Area right now. Joining us right now from Washington is Congresswoman Schwartz. We had mentioned earlier that she would be joining us. Congresswoman Alison Schwartz is a Democrat from Pennsylvania and the vice chair of the House Budget Committee in Washington, as many lawmakers, at least on that side of the aisle, are defending the omnibus spending plan. Congresswoman, thanks for giving us a couple of minutes today.
Absolutely. Good to be with you this morning.
As we know, this particular bill is to fund the current budget through the current fiscal year. And many lawmakers in Washington who are for getting this passed and in front of the president are saying that this is something that was left over from the Bush administration and we just need to get it finished and move forward.
I think that's correct. It is actually the appropriations, the spending bills for the year we're in, and we're halfway through the year. So, unfortunately, we couldn't reach agreement with the Bush administration, and these are the appropriations bills that have already been through committee, been reviewed by everyone. They've been put together. Let's get them done. We're already in the debate about next year's budget, and really, given the economy, given what all the challenges facing the federal budget and our families and our economy, we ought to be moving forward.
Okay, now you are vice chair of the Budget Committee, and you just outlined that given the budget and where we are so far, we just need to move forward with this. But really, given that line of thinking, Congresswoman, and I'm libertarian, I'm not Democrat or Republican, I'm looking at the list. I know that it's only $7 billion out of about $410 billion, but really, depending on whose count, 8,000 to 9,000 earmarks. And I'm looking at this 5.8 million, almost 5.8 million, yes, almost 6 million for the Ted Kennedy Institute for the Senate for planning and design of a building and an endowment. I mean, really. And the list is so long here, it would take the whole segment if I went to beaver management, honeybee lab. We heard about the one with the pig dung in Iowa. But there are so many others on here that are just unconscionable. And what would be the problem with getting this thing into your committee and knocking this stuff out of here?
Well, actually, without getting into technicalities, it actually goes into a different appropriations committees. They're the committees that actually review.
So why can't we? It's a new administration now.
Look, we could. The issue is that earmarks grew dramatically over the last 8 years under George Bush.
But now stop.
And we've cut them in half. And we've also made them transparent. I know I put every one of my requests and the ones that come through, they do go through a review process in committee. And
because, as you just said, that was the old administration. That was the old Congress. We had a new Congress sworn in January. We have a new president now who swore no earmarks when he was running for president. And by the way, you folks who ran in 06 told us we're going to be out of Iraq by now if you all got elected in 06. What happened to that?
Well, Well, let me say that we are, that's a very different question. And
yeah, it sure is.
The president has stood up, and let me say, he has stood up and talked about bringing tens of thousands of troops home. He always said, and certainly I've always said, that we need to bring our troops home. We need to end the war in Iraq and our
the bottom line here,
in combat in particular, but we need to do so responsibly and safely for our troops.
Okay,
and for our
all of these earmarks
and that always
here,
comes first.
Congresswoman, all of these earmarks that are supposedly leftovers. Let's not forget that you folks were sworn in January 2007 when you swept the House and the Senate. And these all happened on the Democrat majority, and I, therefore, just logically speaking, would hold you folks accountable for all of these earmarks. Even if Republicans wanted some of these, and they did, you should have stopped it.
Well, I understand the concerns about earmarks. I really do. And you are right that half of these earmarks go to Republicans, and each of the members have to stand up and justify their earmarks. Again, we've cut back on earmarks. This is going to be an ongoing discussion going forward, because I know that so many people are really concerned about it. But also understand, I think that most of your listeners, certainly most of my constituents, they're really worried about the economy. They're worried about jobs for their for themselves and their kids. They're worried about, they're worried about the future, and we ought to be making.
So if we're worried about the future, Congresswoman, see, you're tap dancing. You have no answer for me for accountability at all. You guys were sworn in January of 2007. Nothing changed. It's business as usual. Democrats make deals with Republicans. You vote for my earmark, I'll vote for yours. You're scratching each other's backs, and here we are in debt up to our eyeballs, and nothing's changing. Nothing is changing.
Well, I would tell you to take a look at this budget that
I have it in front of me. I have it in front of me.
We are making dramatic changes in priorities.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Values and
no, you're
priorities.
Not. You're making
It's a very, very different budget going forward, and it should be, because we are making up for 8 years of failures to make the kind of investments that make us stronger and
8 years
as a nation
8 years.
Economically.
You have been in control for the last two, Congresswoman.
I understand them. I don't want to defend somebody else's earmarks.
You're in total denial. You're in total denial.
To tackle the major issues going forward.
Democrats have controlled Ways and Means now for 2 years. You folks have been in control. You have controlled George W. Bush for 2 of the last 8 years, and there are no excuses here, Congresswoman. It's all about accountability, and you, on the Budget Committee, should know better.
I believe in accountability, and I think that you're right. You ought to hold us accountable for where we're going to be able to take this economy going forward. And good to be with you, and I'm sorry.
Bail out. Okay,
so
bail out like every other. Yeah, see ya, loser. Bail out like every other elected politician does when they come on this program and can't take the heat. Loser. There she is, Congresswoman, Representative Alison Schwartz, Democrat, Pennsylvania, Vice Chair of the House Budget Committee.
8 years of failures under George W. Bush.
8 years. The last 2, Democrats controlled both houses. They controlled the spending process. She's in the House. She knows where the problem starts. It's called House Ways and Means, and it's run by a tax evader named Charles Rangel. She knows Boy, she came on the wrong program. Unbelievable. How about $1 million for Mormon crickets in Utah? Did you know they have Mormon crickets? I thought crickets were non-denominational. Oh, yeah, we're going to spend $1 million on Mormon crickets to research them. $1 million for corn and soybean research in Worcester, Ohio. You want to research land in Cape Cod? 1.75 there. I would think the state of Massachusetts could handle that. And the Ted Kennedy Institute, she had no comeback for that whatsoever. None. Oh, was ABC mad that I kept her over 15? Oh, well, you know what? That's what they get. I didn't get a chance to ask her either. Damn, I ran out of time. I always like to ask these schmucks if they do their own taxes. Every elected official, regardless of party. Do you do your own taxes? And I ran out of time. If I ever get her back on and there'll be a cold day in hell, I'll try and ask her. Oh, these people make me sick to my stomach. 866-977-4820.